This NFL Picks Week 4 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
What's up, everybody? You're watching SGPN. Fuck the Cowboys. Let's go, baby.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
No, week 4 is already here. Sean, can't believe it. We're almost a quarter of the way through the NFL season.
Yeah, wow, Ryan. Waiting till week 4 to break out. Can you believe it? It's already NFL week 4.
Can you believe it?
Oh, I can always believe it. I'm pretty locked in when it comes to the National Football League. Kramer, coming off a great week for the show. You were an amazing 12-4 ATS.
It's always, it's a good week when people slide in the DMs. Where can I find your picks? Heard you went 12-4 last week on the money line. I go, actually, it was 12-4 ATS.
12-4 ATS. I went 10-6 ATS, although I did hit both my locks and my dog competing. I'm on a bit of a dog heater. Don't want to jinx it. And 4-1 on our Circa Million plays, Ryan. So nice bounce back week in the Circa Million. Nice bounce back week, just winning a bunch of cash.
Also, we did not get eliminated in Survivor this week.
Yes, another shout out to us. First week we didn't get eliminated. And
2 out of 3 weeks we haven't.
Yeah, we're 2-1 in not getting eliminated in the Survivor. So shout out to us.
Yes.
Darius Knox checking in. Chad is lit, saying, "Is it too early to pregame for Sunday?" No, and that is a little loophole.
It's a great question.
All drinking before Sunday is technically considered pregame, and you are covered by pregaming rules. Yes, no, I know a lot of people don't realize it. It is a little bit of a loophole. Shout to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Check it in. Let's go NFL Week 4. I'm guessing that's Cody. Maybe he's fired up to take his Patriots catching a big number against San Francisco. Right?
Probably not. I'm gonna guess he's not. Maybe he is. Maybe he's a little sad about Nebraska from last week.
Oh,
too.
Ryan, how dare you? I mean, I had
like,
way
I give
less
a shit about anyone else feeling sad.
I had way less. I noticed I had way less Nebraska fans in my mentions after the Illinois game versus the Colorado game. Now the Colorado game, you're hearing a lot of Nebraska fans, and my mentions were kind of quiet, a little lonely after I gave out Illinois on the money line last week for college football.
Yeah, I mean that's how it is. I think.
Yes,
it's a recency bias thing.
It is, and always a screw you, never a thank you. We got a lot to get to. First off, we are bringing back applications once again open for Degen University. Just head over to degen.university, fill out the application, state why you should be accepted to Degen University. If accepted, you will have your name announced on air, and Ryan and I will send you a diploma. And shout out to Cooper Kersey, one of our alumni, was checking my Instagram, and he had he's also an Eagles fan, unrelated to him graduating from Degen University.
That had nothing to do with it.
He had his like a framed Eagles thing that like now Degen University diploma is also in there. So it's very simple. We want to highlight true Degens out there, spreading the word of the gospel of the Sports Gambling Podcast, and SGPN is all about creating a safe space for hardcore gambling degenerates, and we want to reward people who embody it. You get a cap and gown in the form of a Degen University hat and T-shirt, and a autographed diploma by Kramer and myself.
Well, and how sick would that diploma look on like a nice matted framed situation in your office?
Oh yeah, and
no one gets up and looks that closely at it.
No, and I have a feeling there's a lot of people probably even working for us, Ryan. I don't think we ever asked anyone where they went to school before hiring them on.
No, that wasn't. Part
Maybe
of
it was just as far as like what college football team you root for.
Yeah.
We never inquired whether or not anyone that works for us has a degree. And degrees really don't matter, but this one does. And perfect time. It's never too late to get your degree. So go back to school. Degen.university.
Yeah, I would say if anything, there's sometimes a double take when you're like, whoa, they went where?
Yeah, sometimes it's like, holy shit, this guy went to Princeton. What's he doing blogging for us?
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who went to Princeton, but that's kind of the idea.
Daniel Jones almost went to Princeton.
He did. Roger Long checking in. What you drinking tonight? Stacking the house special. Jameson on the rocks. I'm open to other whiskeys. Any whiskey companies? I know we've had some distilleries hit us up before. Send us some samples. Always down to plug your distillery, or maybe you're just a guy who sells whiskey at a liquor store and you want a shout out. DMs are open. Always accepting free booze.
We do have a bar.
Yes.
In the office.
Bar. Whiskey for plugs. Honestly, with it, as long as it's not something political, anything you want me to plug, if you send in some whiskey, I will happily plug on air. Great way to get your message out there, get some free advertisement, and cheaper way to advertise than what we normally charge.
Yeah. Plus the political guys just make horrible advertisements and run it over.
Oh my God. It is. I mean, it's like our buddy Marshawn Lynch.
Are there people that get into this time of the year? You're like, ooh, yeah, commercial season.
Yeah. I mean, that was when we hung out in the Westgate NFL Week 1, Ryan. That was the best part. They were going out of their way. Anytime a political ad came on, the guy running the sound immediately hit mute, which when you're hanging out in Vegas and watching local TV, I guess it's a swing state. I don't know. I don't follow that. But just tons of red team, blue team ads.
Also, who cares? I'm watching football.
Yeah, I know.
The fuck I give a shit about.
It's the last thing I care about.
Yeah, how's this guy ATS? How about that? You want to have some creativity, politician? Come on with an ad giving out picks.
Yes.
You give out some winners. I have a feeling you might find some people voting for you.
Kamala Harris went 9-3 against the spread, including 3 massive money line dogs. I'm like, all right, now maybe I'm intrigued.
Let's workshop this. So we get rid of the election and we just have an ATS competition. 5
that would
picks
be awesome.
each week.
I mean, if I truly believe this, whoever wins Circa Million, if they were our president, if you can crack the NFL against the spread, you have a system, you have spreadsheets, you
have people close to you that you trust. I think
you're probably better than any other candidate.
You're willing to listen to other information and maybe even competing thoughts to get to the right place. This is actually a really good idea, Sean.
Yes. That would be awesome. Circa Million, you get a goal, you get a green jacket, and you get to become president of the United States.
Yeah, you get invited to the Oval Office and to the winners' dinner the next year.
Oh, I have to share this story about dinner the other night before we get into the NFL picks. So it was my wife and anniversary. Went out to a classy joint, nice dinner. I got a little espresso after the meal, a little digestion, and then as been known to happen, I had to use the bathroom. So,
as been known,
go to the bathroom. And
is that the restaurant?
Yeah, very fancy restaurant. Yeah. So fancy that it has the full stall door. That's how you know you're at a nice place.
Yep.
When they have the full stall door.
You didn't get locked in the stall, did you?
No. I did nothing wrong in this situation. Start going to the bathroom.
Okay. More details, maybe.
Make some noise. And while I'm doing that, I hear a little voice laughing like, and I'm like, it's a little girl's voice. Obviously, I was in the men's room. I still identify as a man.
This little dinner at Diddy's house.
Little girl's laughing. I'm like, all right. Whatever. And then I come out and I go to wash my hands, and this little girl is staring at me, and obviously she's with her dad, and the dad goes to her, "Don't stare at him, you're gonna make it weird." And I'm like, and when he says that, obviously I start laughing, and then the guy turns to me and goes, "Did you hear her? Did you hear her laughing?" I go, "Yeah, I did." I'm not going to apologize for shitting in a nice like what? I just started cracking up, washed my hands, and left. But
she's got to learn eventually the harsh terms of reality, Sean.
Yeah, it was very funny. So, tales from marriage. Kramer, let's get into it. Let's talk a little National Football League.
Tales from the shitter.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
Thought you were gonna have a baby oil story.
No. Did you see Diddy's attorney says he had thousands of bottles, but it's just because he shops at Costco. The man buys in bulk.
I mean, he's got a family. I can respect that as someone.
Yeah, you want savings if you're going to buy thousands of bottles of baby oil.
Here's the way you test it. Are you going to Costco? You ordering that shit delivery because no one who has anything to do ever goes to Costco. If you know someone that goes to Costco, they got a lot of free time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because why not get it delivered, right?
Hey, also, just when you go to Costco, it's a full day. It's like IKEA.
Yes.
All right. You want to talk football?
I do, Ryan. I do.
Okay. Right now, right? Okay.
Yes.
And here we go. Thursday night. We got a little NFC East battle here. We heard Brandon Jacobs at the top of the show say nice things about the Cowboys. In this case, they are on the road, Sean. They are laying 6. I know there's some 5.5s out there as well. -250 on the money line. Giants +216. 45.5 is the total. Sean, this Cowboys team. And I posted another erotic NFL chart on my X feed at Kramer Centric. But one thing that really stood out, the Cowboys defense is ass.
Yeah, it's like in you ever see the Antonio Bryan account or Antonio Brown account where
you mean one of the best follows on social
who may be going away according to some rumors. He always goes, how ass is the Dallas Cowboys, and then it'll just be this chick with this gigantic ass. Yeah, the Cowboys are really in trouble, Ryan. A lot of people may have listened to our preseason breakdown team preview of the Cowboys and thought, oh, these guys are just biased fans, not sharp NFL handicappers. Cowboys off to a very rough start. I do find joy in the fact that their only good player now is their kicker. They just look bad. I mean, they can't run the ball and they can't stop the run. This is a horrible formula for this team. And the Cowboys, this is 8 incompletions they've only forced in the past 2 games. 8.
So you're saying that Danny Dimes might have a decent prime time game here?
Well, if you look at Danny Dimes' prime time career, not great. 1-13 straight up, 5-9 ATS at least, Ryan.
Yep.
0-6 straight up at home at night. I don't know if he's like a turns into a vampire. What happens?
You know, the Illuminati schedule. Typically, he's going down into some stone cavern to hang out with his buddies. This time, no, I mean, look, he's been horrible. Dak's been great against the Giants recently. The success from last week for the Giants came with the blitz. Generally, Dak's been pretty good against the blitz, although their offensive line and running game's a little bit different this year. Adoree Jackson, who was not playing a ton. He's out already for this week. Drew Phillips, who was the highest graded rookie according to PFF last week, or maybe for the season. Although he only has played 50% of the defensive snaps, he's out. That to me is the bigger guy who's going to miss the game. But this story is very simple. Trayvon Diggs made the mistake of talking a lot of shit about Malik Neighbors in the offseason. And Malik Neighbors seems to have remembered it. And quote, I don't want to talk about it. You'll see in the game.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, if you listen to the prop show, Thursday night prop show, check that out. I do like Neighbors to get a touchdown. I don't want to be too positive on the Giants. Giants are 0-6 straight up, last 6 against the Cowboys. So hopefully they get it right here, but I think they're going to be able to run all over the Cowboys. Cowboys are allowing 5.4 yards per rush, most in the National Football League, and in particular 4th in the league in rush yards to the quarterback. Obviously Lamar had a very good game running all over them. This defense just seems out of sort. There's already now, normally the Cowboys start off pretty good, Ryan. Like the regular season is not their problem. It's the playoffs where they really hit that wall. But there's already some big chemistry issues where Micah Parsons talking about, hey, I do this for my family. I do this to feed my family. And I don't know how many times you got to like talk to someone about doing their job. Like he was calling out other.
Who do you think he's calling out?
I don't know. It seemed like he was calling out the rest of the defense.
Like everyone.
Yeah.
He was really, if you remember, he was a big Dan Quinn guy. He openly talked about wanting to leave with Dan Quinn. He talked about how much this guy has meant for his career. He said some of the same things about Brent Pry, by the way. So I don't, take it with a grain of salt. But it does seem like there's issues also. And this came from Todd Archer, who covers the team. Dak Prescott, and this was yesterday, a Tuesday. Dak didn't speak with the reporters today. Don't think he's upset about anything. Don't think he's mad. Short week, quick turnaround, less time to get the body right. But can't remember a time he didn't talk before a start. So whatever is going on, it's clearly starting to leak outside of the building and outside into the public eye. And as we, you were mentioning earlier, a lot of this has to do with the fact that the defense changed and it's just not good. Whatever the regression we were expecting from the
and it's their offensive line isn't good. They can't run the ball
and look
to
at this
set up play action.
This is what I posted, but look at where the Cowboys defense is relative to the rest of the NFL.
Yeah.
I eliminated
if you're
garbage
going
time
youtube.com/sportsgaming podcast, Kramer's been on a graph heater. But yes, I mean, I don't understand the graph, but Cowboys are at the bottom, and I understand that.
And if you missed it this time, I will show it again during the Steelers portion. Don't worry.
And of course, Mike Zimmer, their defensive coordinator, not working out. Of course, Mike Zimmer with the all-time photo. I love this thing. Mike Zimmer with eye patch was my one of my favorite moments in the National Football League, and he wore the glasses over the eye patch. I guess that's what you have to do, but man, is that an incredible look.
But but also don't forget the mounted animals he had in his draft war room.
And the animals he mounts off the field as well, and not hunting or traditional game hunting. His girlfriend, very attractive. I don't know how he would stay.
No, it's
focused.
the same thing. He likes to stuff those as well.
He stuffs a lot.
Living or dead, he'll stuff you.
Giants +6 consensus play here, Ryan. Or are you gonna go? You're laying the points with the Cowboys?
Did I mention the Cowboys are a public team?
Oh, there we go.
And I've heard
Here we go.
I've heard a lot.
Here we go. Road favorites. Here we go.
I heard Jerry Jones on a talk radio show accept the blame of the team. I mean, this.
Well, everyone knows not a decision goes by without me approving it. So like he took the blame, but still reminded people, "Hey, this is my piece of shit."
He can't help himself.
No, he can't. It's great.
It's hilarious. All right, yeah. I suppose I'll fade the Cowboys in this spot. All right, let's hop over to Sunday, Sean. Where I think this is incorrect. Where we got a nice slate of 8 games in the early window.
Perfect.
Some say it's perfect if you have an 8 TV setup. First up, we have the game they refer to as Hate Week. Falcons Saints, one of the more underrated, fierce rivalries in the National Football League. Saints got a little bit exposed last week against the Eagles. This week they are catching 2.5, +115 on the money line. 42.5 is the total. As much as I'm down on the Falcons and as much as the Saints have looked the part early in the season, between the recent injuries to the offensive line for the Saints or the general health, and I guess even while they've been bad, the Falcons have started to put some things together. Probably should have beaten the Chiefs, and I think we're getting them at a discount here, Sean. My initial thought is, why aren't we getting 3 points here? Alvin Kamara banged up.
Yeah, because Caleb McGarry and Drew Dahlman, interior offensive linemen for the Falcons, are both out, and that's huge. If you can create interior pressure on Kirk Cousins, that's how you dominate Kirk Cousins. And I thought they did a very bad job game management, just everything. Like I thought they really struggled, and the Saints are kind of a quirky team. They're actually kind of better on the road versus home. They are one of the best ATS teams on the road, 33-19-1 ATS. They've been on a nice run, best road team against the spread in the NFL, and then second worst home team. So when in doubt, take the Saints on the road, fade them at home. I think this is a decent spot for them. I know they're going to be missing their center, but I do think they bounce back offensively.
They could be. It sounds like they're going to be missing their guard as well.
Yeah, I guess I'm not.
Didn't practice today.
I'm not as worried. They are getting Taysom Hill back, which is huge. And if you go to the flow chart, Ryan, Saints have just kind of owned the Falcons. They've won 10 out of the last 13. And I'm going to take them once again. Give me the Saints and the points.
Falcons also looking ahead to Thursday night.
Good reason to fade them.
Don't you think when the offensive line injuries happened last week, that was part of the like that sealed the deal? Like they weren't going to be able to run the ball on the Eagles front the rest of the game. I mean, I think that team was so reliant on this explosive run game, and like really, we've seen them be in garbage time a lot this year. So if you exclude some of that, are they going to be able to pull that off here against the Falcons with the depleted offensive line? So
two things. To me, it was less injury related. It was Vic Fangio's adjustment, bringing the fifth guy up on the line, and them not having an answer on how to run block five guys. So if Kubiak. Now remember when Clint Kubiak was the new sexy coaching hire after 2 weeks?
Yep.
Already assistant coach of the year.
Yep.
How the mighty have fallen. I don't think
Belichick did a whole breakdown about how babies are made, basically.
What?
No, if you watch Inside the NFL, he kind of was highlighting how the Shanahans and the Kubiak lineage crosses over by showing fathers and sons.
No, I think Kubiak's going to have an answer. I think Fangio did a good job of figuring out what to do to slow down the Saints team. And I think Saints are going to counter. I like them in this spot. So I'll take the Saints in the 2.5.
I'll lay the 2.5. Even though
that's what they say, always lay the 2.5.
You're not supposed to do that. And I think a lot of it is, I wonder how good that stretch run game is going to work without your starting center and guard. It seems
and Atlanta really struggles to rush the passer. I think the Eagles were successful against Derek Carr because
with interior pressure.
Yeah, they don't have
the center went out.
They don't have Jalen Carter on that Falcons team.
I mean, that's a fair thing to say, but you might not need Jalen Carter against a backup center and a backup guard.
It's true.
And again,
I like the Saints D line better than the Falcons.
I get it. You just want to inflate the Eagles win.
No, I think the Saints, their point, their performance offensively, they're going to bounce back.
No, they're definitely a bounce back spot there. But you could argue that perception may be down a little bit on Atlanta too, because they lost that game to the Chiefs. They got boned. The mysterious they took it away from Atlanta. All right, game number 2 in the early window. This one's a little puzzling to me. The Steelers on the road in Indy. The look ahead had the Colts favored. Now Pittsburgh's favored by 1.5. 40 is the total. Of course, we all know the Steelers are undefeated. Mike Tomlin is somehow doing it once again, spitting in the face of everyone who thought this was going to be the end. So much so the public's on him this week, Sean. That concerns me not at all, because what do we say about Mike Tomlin when he's laying less than a field goal? He's basically a dog. And what do you do when Mike Tomlin's a dog? You bet on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And if you remember last year, Colts really put it on the Steelers 30-13. I think they got.
You think Tomlin remembers?
Yeah, and that was because Mitch Trubisky threw 2 interceptions. Certainly, there is always the looming Justin Fields collapse, and that might, things might fall apart there. But
he's definitely the better quarterback in this matchup, though.
100%.
So it's like, okay,
this is an insane stat. Anthony Richardson is the 23rd quarterback since 2000 to be under 50% passing through 3 games with 50+ attempts. So 23 quarterbacks. So not great right there. Of those 23, only 2 other quarterbacks have had 6 or more interceptions in those 3 games. Do you want to guess some of the guys he's in with, Ryan?
I mean, it's got to be just all time. No, give me the list.
Kerry Collins, who did get to a Super Bowl, and Ryan Leaf. Ryan Leaf is the other one.
Sean Payton took Kerry Collins to a Super Bowl.
I mean, the only reason the Steelers or the Colts won that game is because the Bears were so bad on offense. And Ryan, you said this to me in the office. Steelers can run the ball and they can stop the run. That's really all you need to know about this game. And
very puzzling.
You have a quarterback who likes to turn it over against the Steelers defense. What are you fucking talking about?
Wait, hold on, Sean. Is TJ Watt hurt? No, he's healthy.
Minka Fitzpatrick's healthy. Joey Porter Jr.'s healthy.
I'd also like to take a moment too. We need to stop. I've heard I shouldn't say heard because it's mostly read. I've read way too many people referencing yards per play or something relative to yards per play as the reason the Colts are a good buy this week. They're breaking that stat on you. I'm sorry. That offense is breaking yards per play for everyone. You can't look at it.
Yards per play is fine, Ryan. But
they're number 2 in the league in offensive yards per play, but they're only 15th in DVOA. I know it's early. Weighted DVOA. It's very early for me to bring up DVOA.
I mean, let's make it simpler. Turnover and those turnovers that Anthony Richardson are throwing.
Well, that's why
they're not outliers. It's not like a tip ball. He throws a lot of balls that should be intercepted, and they are getting intercepted. I don't even look at the advanced stuff because it might. And why they win last week? Because they ran Jonathan Taylor all over the Bears. Stay tuned. There might be another running back might have a good game against the Bears, but. I just don't think you're going to be able to do that against this Steelers defense, and DeForest Buckner's out for the Colts. So you have Najee Harris,
is he important?
Who's a little banged up. It sounds like he's going to be fine. I mean, put fucking Tyler Algier back there. It doesn't matter. They're going to be able to run the ball, and I wouldn't be surprised if Justin Fields has a good game with some design run stuff. And last but not least, at least for my notes, quarterbacks within their first 10 career starts. 14-42 straight up against Tomlin. So if you're a quarterback making one of your first 10 starts against a Mike Tomlin team, you're winning at 25%. And that is, some trends I like if I can build a narrative and if they actually make sense. And a young quarterback struggling against Tomlin makes a ton of sense. So I'm all over the Steelers here. Now, if the Colts are smart, they should try and shape their team like what the Steelers are doing. I don't think they have the horses on defense yet. But like they should be trying to build what the Steelers have right now, but Anthony Richardson's turnovers are keeping them from doing that.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the more puzzling matchups. A couple other things to note. Yeah. Najee arm was in a sling. He's a running back. He'll be fine. Warren is out.
Yeah.
So stay tuned to the prop show, but Cordero Patterson.
Did I say Tyler Algier? I get him confused. Cordero Patterson.
That's just a fellow Arthur Smith boy toy. Also, Isaac Seumalo, the guard, back at practice. So
that's big.
I don't know if he,
because they lost their right tackle. Didn't seem to matter tremendously against the Chargers, but getting Seumalo back, I think is helpful.
I kind of thought, was he not put on IR? So there's a chance. Oh wow, no, sounds like he's going to play this week potentially.
The right tackle.
So no, he's a guard.
No, but the Steelers lost their right tackle.
I know. I'm talking
last
about
game.
Yeah, but Seumalo, he went out before the year with a torn pec, and now he's back. So that would be a boost, considering that, especially if we expect the running game to be working. But last thing I would add, you can try to trick me with the offensive performance of the Colts, because as you mentioned, the yardage and the turnovers have created this interesting statistical anomaly. But it's the defense I would point to. Where they don't stop the run well. They don't stop. They just let Caleb Williams throw for 300 plus yards on him. To me, we're going to see a great Justin Fields game. I think we're going to see a great Justin Fields game. I don't understand people betting on the Colts.
Well, Ryan, let's head over to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN. Let's talk about Justin Fields. Do you want to take Justin Fields passing yards? That's set at 180.5. His passing touchdown higher is a half passing touchdown. I mean, it's tough because I do think they're going to be able to pound the rock.
Yeah, but it's the answer is we do something with Pickens, probably
Pickens, not Najee, or do you think Najee's line's not going to be good?
Well, so if we wanted to attack the passing, because it's 47.5 receiving yards, we need something down the field. Maybe we do a longest reception. Najee's 67.5.
I like that.
But we could also just do Cordero Patterson to score a touchdown.
Okay, that's fun. That's spicy too.
He's going to be their goal. I mean, he's going to be running the ball. You know?
All right, Cordero Patterson higher to get a touchdown. Get that over on Underdog Fantasy. .com. Use a promo code SGPN and get you nice deposit bonus, 50% up to $1,000. No crazy rollover requirements. Get over there. UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN.
I just put it with AR-15 to throw a pick.
Ryan, I just paired it with Kyler Murray, higher passing yards. I think that's a good play.
I like the Anthony Richardson pick angle.
Yeah.
Also very fun. All right, next up, game number 3 in the early window, Jacksonville Jaguars, which a lot of quit in the Jags last Monday night. Well, now they're taking on the Houston Texans. Little battle, AFC South. And kind of a desperate spot here for the Jaguars, catching 6.5 plus 245 on the money line, minus 285 for the Texans. 45.5 is the total. The Texans are in a spot here where they are going against the Jags team that is on a back-to-back road spot, is on a short week. They underperformed the spread by 21 points last week, Sean. So they are a close your eyes special.
Oh, and
they appear to be catching some sharp action this week, which is never something you like with a close your eyes special. I am going to continue to go to the church of the close your eyes special. I wish this was 7. My saving grace is that CJ Stroud, I would say, is not looking like someone on the verge of being an MVP quarterback. And perhaps we can see this pass rush for the Jacksonville or Saxonville Jaguars stand up and make a couple plays. It does. The Joe Mixon news seems very 50-50 this week. Tank Dell's banged up. This Houston team is a little banged up, Sean.
Yeah, no, I mean, so the positives for the Jags are, hey, it couldn't get any worse, but I don't know. It might be able to get worse. And of course, the close your eyes special. I even saw something that's like an extended version of the close your eyes special. Teams that lose by 35 points in the next game. When they get 4 points or higher, that's up to 73%. So you're really playing fire, but I don't like some of these trends I worry about historically, because I feel like now it's so much information out there about teams, coming back and like
market awareness
is at an all-time high. So even Square Sharps are aware of like bounce back opportunities and stuff like that. They're not quite like, I don't know if you're getting that many bonus points here with this Jags team. Trevor Lawrence has just looked bad, period, especially on the road. I mean, you could make a case. There were some bad interceptions, but that one he threw Monday night might have been the worst. And the Jags defense, man, is just very, very rough. The matchup, and I'm with you on Stroud. He certainly hasn't looked amazing or anywhere near a guy making a jump for an MVP level, but small sample size. He's only lost 7 games straight up. He has been 5-2 ATS after a loss. And the Texans just kind of own the Jags. Going back to the flow chart, 21-6 straight up against the Jags last 27. The Jags own the Colts, or maybe vice versa. I forget the exact AFC South flow chart, but there are some powerful angles in there. The matchup that makes it so hard to fire on the Jags is the Jags offense against this Texans defense. Like I still think this Texans defense is pretty good. I get what happened in Minnesota. They kind of got hit in the mouth. The offense couldn't do anything and they unraveled a bit, but this Texans defense, especially at home, I think is just going to be a nightmare scenario for the Jags. And you throw in the short week and the back-to-back, I just can't do it. And Shad Khan, they said it's the angriest he's ever been. I mean, Peterson might get fired after this game, Kramer.
I think they like Peterson though. And so there could be a get up spot here. I also worth noting, since week 13 of last season, the Jags have only won 1 game. And Trevor Lawrence was not starting that game.
He's lost what, 8 or 9 in a row?
8 in a row. He's 0-8 in his last 8 starts.
and like 1-8 AT or 1-7 ATS. So I'm going Houston. I see the case for Jacksonville, but I just can't do it.
It's his like Trevor Lawrence is grading out. If you look at like CPOE and the composite of CPOE and EPA, he's grading out between Caleb Williams and Bryce Young.
He's quiet. He's lucky he's in Jacksonville.
Who by
like
the way,
if he was in like a Northeast sports market, he would be getting destroyed. People don't even bother to shit on the Jags.
But I would also point out in those same types of metrics, CJ Stroud is grading out below Will Levis. So
yeah, I just think the coaching right now, the defensive talent. I get you with the offense struggling, but
give me some points. And to your point of the extra value, look ahead last week was 5.5, but this number opened back in May at 3.5. So it's been moved. But guess what? Dogs have been barking all season, so people are going to buy up these sevens. Sure. I would imagine we'll see this, especially with this kind of game. But the close your eyes special, Sean. Come on, what are you doing? You're just spitting in the face of the close your eyes special.
I am.
I do have a theory that it should be avoided weeks 1 through 4, but I'm still here. I'm still eating the bread and drinking the wine. All right, next up, this is a little bit of a matchup here in the NFC North. Vikings, Packers. Vikings maybe the best team in the National Football League, according to my latest chart. It would agree. Sam Darnold playing like an MVP. The Vikings do have a look ahead spot here to London. Sean.
Yeah.
Packers at home at Lambeau. This was 2.5 on the look ahead. It's 2.5 now. Tells me they thought Jordan Love was going to come back. I'd imagine it stretches out to 3 once it gets announced that he will actually start. -140 on the money line, +120 for the Vikings. 43.5 is the total.
This one is tough right off the top, right? Because Malik Willis against this Brian Flores defense, which as you highlighted last week, Ryan, and we've just seen it so far. Like he's really got this defense dialed in.
Yeah.
A young quarterback like that going up against that Brian Flores defense, that's a crazy matchup. But then if you get Jordan Love back, how healthy is Jordan Love? 3-0 teams that are underdogs in their 4th game have struggled. 2-9 straight up, 3-7-1 ATS in the last decade, 6-19 straight up, 9-15-1 ATS last 20 years. Basically, if the market is saying a 3-0 team is a dog, maybe they're on to something. But yeah, I mean that can you really go against this Vikings team? I mean, both teams are red hot. This one is pretty tough. And my Vikings are looking ahead to London. I don't know. What are you doing here, Ryan?
I don't think they're looking ahead to anything. This is a huge divisional game, and my thought is that the thing that Jordan Love struggles with, I think we've learned with Malik Willis coming.
So you think Jordan Love plays? Because that's obviously a big part of this.
I don't think the spread is -2.5 for the Packers if Malik Willis is playing. Like I think this probably goes to 3 when Jordan Love gets announced, and I think it's like probably
it feels like it's kind of split.
I think it's Vikings -2.5 if Malik Willis plays.
I think it'd be like -1.5. I don't know if it quite gets up to 2.5. Certainly doesn't get Vikings 3, but it feels like they're splitting the difference, but erring on Jordan Love probably playing.
Yeah, my take on Jordan Love is what we've seen him do really well is get the ball to his athletic playmakers in space. But at times, especially when pressured and even when not, he likes to throw off the back foot. I think if he is at all limited with whatever ankle injury, which I'm sure he's coming back too soon, then I would expect Brian Flores to try his darndest to create pressure and create confusing looks, because Jordan Love can be confused and Jordan Love will give you an interception.
And Darnold was a little banged up. Full participant should be fine, but he did take some shots there, so that's kind of interesting.
I've heard if you believe Jair Alexander is going to completely shut down Justin Jefferson, okay, he doesn't get generally shut down, and I do think that Aaron Jones,
that to me
is fucking pissed at this organization. He wanted to retire a Packer.
Yeah.
He was happy to take less money to be a Packer, and they threw him out with the trash and brought in a guy who kind of similar but different. I don't know. Like, to me, this is a Viking spot all day.
Yeah, if you sold me on the idea of like, hey, this should be a good game, I'll take the divisional home team. I understand the case, but Aaron Jones, the more I look at it, that I think that is the deciding factor, because Aaron Jones clearly has some games where he goes full on Aaron Jones, and this might be one of them.
I watched the clip from Aaron Jones. He was being interviewed, and it might have been after the last game, and he was being asked like, "What's so special about this team?" He's like, and if you've ever heard Aaron Jones talk, he's like a very personable dude, very honest. He was just like, I was talking to my mom the other day, and I couldn't put my finger on it, but there's something about this team, which I get it. Everyone says that when things are going good, but it felt a little bit like, with the Vikings game on deck, it was a little bit more of a dig back there. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, or with the Packers game on deck. So yeah, I'm all over this Vikings team. I'm surprised you were torn. I think Jordan Love will make mistakes in this game if he plays, and if it's Malik Willis, I'll take Brian Flores.
Yeah, no, well, they are at home, and Green Bay has looked good, and LaFleur has been coaching them well. So I think them as a
stock's high.
Yeah, no, I get stock's also high for Minnesota.
That's
right?
True. That's also true.
I mean, I don't think it's not as easy as you make it out.
Preseason, like the line opened at 4.5, but the look ahead was 2.5. So
yeah, that stuff I can't even factor in, because there's been so much wacky shit happening to both.
Well, just
teams.
for perspective, in terms of like the Vikings have come up a lot.
Yeah,
and it's only moved 2 points. You could make that argument too. All right, game number 5, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Carolina Panthers. Some are calling this the Andy Dalton ultimate revenge spot. Andy Dalton looking sharp, throwing for 303 touchdowns last week. Bengals coming off Monday night, where they, 2 times in 3 weeks, have managed to ruin people's survivor pool. The Bengals really are laying. This number is all over the place, because in May it was 1.5. Last week it was 7. Now it's only 4. -195 on the money line for the Bengals, +173 for the Panthers. 47 is the total.
I mean,
I don't know how you take the. They dumped the Gatorade. The coach was like flexing.
I said it when we previewed the game against the Raiders. I go, they're going to win this game outright, and then we fade them the next week. And I feel great about this, fading them, especially Bengals coming off a loss. This is the Bengals fucking Super Bowl. Are we kidding me?
T. Higgins is back.
I mean, the Panthers are just happy that they won a game, and they're not historically bad and a complete embarrassment. Yeah, I get it. The Bengals didn't force a punt against the Commanders, which is pretty bad, but this is just a desperate team. You're getting the Bengals at a crazy discount. And again, kind of going back to, sometimes the market is just right. Teams that are 0-3, and a road favorite in game 4, 8-0 straight up, 5-1-2 ATS. I think also, you'll laugh at me, Ryan, but not having Adam Thielen, I think, hurts this Panthers passing offense, because he had legit chemistry with him. It's probably good for Deontay Johnson's targets, but they don't have many good skill players, and Adam Thielen in this offense with Andy Dalton was a good skill player.
The chat saying the Panthers have heart and desire.
They do, but I think that might have hit the wall. Like they celebrated. I mean, they won in Vegas. Have you ever won in Vegas? Something you weren't supposed to do. Defied the odds. You might celebrate a little bit. It was probably a great plane ride home. They're probably still a little hungover. Meanwhile, you have just a ravenous Bengals team. Now, the counter for the Panthers, they do have heart. They do have desire. Andy Dalton revenge game. Bengals. Who are the Bengals to be laying 4 points as a non-conference road favorite on a short week? That is the counter. But I think that the Bengals offense looked really good. And I just don't know if this becomes a shootout. I think ultimately not having Thielen, they also lost their starting left guard for the game. The Panthers, he's going to be out. I think something like that is just enough. I'll take the Bengals laying the 4. And it seems like the public is on the Panthers. Am I right?
I mean, I didn't mark it as a public team, but there's certainly more people seeming. Well, I think there's just as many people saying, well, the Bengals, this, they always start slow. This is going to be when they're going to show out. So, I mean, I'm not going to lock this game up, but this is definitely blowout potential. Like, I don't think there's maybe the Panthers win a couple % of the games, but this feels like the blowout potential is much more than that. I'm with you. I'll lay the points. It does seem like we're gonna get a good Joe Burrow offense game. That to me seems like the lock. I mean, maybe we'll have to.
I mean, the Panthers defense is still pretty bad.
Yeah, and what
they were motivated. I said it. They were gonna get up for that game.
It's true. They did. It's always that first game. Again, I can't unsee Matt Canales celebrating. Very, very strange.
Oh, they literally dumped the Gatorade.
Yeah, they did. All right.
Maybe Matt Canales treated himself to a jerk off.
Oh boy, is that allowed?
The ultimate temptation.
He asked his wife first, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're in a Vegas hotel room. You just had a big win. You have access to high speed internet. You must be like, God, please.
What do you guys want to do after the game? My wife's out here. I gotta go. We're going to a show.
Pray for his wife. I mean, you got to bring the wife out for that, though.
All right. Next up, game number 6. We got the Rams going outside for the first time all season. Sean, not very good though, unfortunately. Good win last week, not great overall. A lot of injuries. Catching 3 points here against the Bears team, also not very good. -145 on the money line for the Bears. 41 is the total. As you can see on the graphic, the Rams are catching a bunch of action. They do. I almost don't want to call them a public side because it doesn't feel like they're a public side, but the bets speak for themselves, and I think both of these teams are really puzzling right now for me. I want, on one hand, this is a massive coaching disadvantage, I think, for the Bears, but on the other, like, I don't know, like, can this Rams team do what they did last week again against a much more inferior opponent? Who, by the way, that opponent was able to create a bunch of yards against the defense that is better than the Rams.
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack here. I mean, if you're building the case for the Bears, you're saying, "Oh, Rams letdown spot after a big divisional win." If you actually look at the trend, though, Stafford and McVay actually have been good after division games, 11-6-2 ATS. But yeah, I mean, the Rams let up a ton of yards. But if you watch that game again, this is why you have to watch that game. If you're a yards per play honk, and I do like yards per play as a stat, I think it's good, but you almost, if you're looking at this Rams team, just have to completely throw out that game against Arizona. They got injured. They clearly just punted that game, and that the yards per play stuff just looks horrific for their season because of that game. Meanwhile, if you take a step back, let's look at, just put the Cardinals game aside. It was a bad spot. They were playing off a overtime game in Detroit. They probably should have won, dealt with injuries there. Then it was a bloodbath in Arizona with the injuries and bad situation spot. They unraveled. Then they bounced back in the ultimate spot. They did not go away. That team did not quit. Stafford was throwing some goddamn lasers to Tutu Atwell. Like Colby Parkinson, Jordan Whittington was getting involved. And let's go back to their running back, Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams, I predict, is going to have a massive game against the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears going into that game knew the Colts were going to try and get Jonathan Taylor going. What did they do? They did not stop Jonathan Taylor. 23 for 110 and 2 touchdowns. Now you have Sean McVay in his bag with 12 personnel going up against a Bears team that can't handle that physicality. Now let's take another look a little deeper. Sure, a guy like Brock Purdy, who clearly knows the offense he's playing in, is experienced. And he ran the ball 10 times in that. So he was running all over the place. Caleb Williams doesn't, as much as rookie quarterbacks like to run, Caleb Williams doesn't run enough. Like he stays in the pocket too long, tries to make plays. He shouldn't. Rams are among the top teams in the league in quarterback pressures and hurries, despite blitzing at the 5th lowest rate. Rams can pressure the quarterback and run the ball. That's how you beat the Chicago Bears team. I understand the situation spot is not favorable for the Los Angeles Rams, but I don't think they figured out much for that offense. I'm on the Rams. Just ram it, baby.
I mean, also Darnell Wright tackle for the Bears. He had a back situation flare up. They were already not very good block. I mean, honestly, if I'm the Rams, the game plan is to generate pressure to force Caleb Williams to roll out, so he has to throw across his body.
Yeah,
because he does it every time, and he's gonna make a mistake. I understand why. I think I understand why people are playing the Bears, but in a strange way. So like, this was the Hard Knocks hype team. They've come in, they've kind of been decent relative to the points spread. They haven't been horrible. And now the spread grows since the start of the season. So it's all to do about the injuries, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Stafford's healthy. Kyron Williams is healthy.
He's healthy, but also like, that was an eye test game. I was watching, I had money on the Rams money line, so maybe I was a little biased, but I was watching it. I'm like, man, this 49ers team, it's annoying. They're just a hair better. And then the Rams did not go away. They were fucking fired up. Now maybe it was just back against the wall, desperate team 0-2, but it's not like the 49ers were laying down, and that 49ers team and scheme way better than what they're going to see against Chicago. And yeah, it's a dome team going outside, but it's going to be balmy in Chicago. I think Stafford's going to be able to throw the ball on this Bears defense, and more importantly to me, it's just a heavy dose of Kyron Williams and then some easy play action stuff.
Yeah, I mean, to me, what got me over the hump was just pure. I'm not interested in laying points with Caleb Williams.
No,
simple hand.
That's all you have to know right now.
Game number 7. This one's going to be on one of the smallish TVs. Broncos, Jets. Broncos on a back-to-back road spot here. Although they got the win in Tampa, I did not actually do the diligence to see if they were staying in the East Coast. Catching 7.5 points here, plus 296 on the money line. Jets minus 350. 39 is the total. Another relatively simple handicap, I think. Are we good laying this many points with the Jets? I mean, we just did this against the Patriots on Thursday night. It was short. It was 6.5.
So no, for me, the handicap for the Pats Jets, that was primarily situational. Like, that was a brutal spot. You had a head coach making his Thursday night debut. That's a horrific spot. You had a team coming off an overtime game going on the road for Thursday night. Like, there was just, and obviously the talent discrepancy and everything else. But let's take that game. Let's pull that game off to the side and look at what this Jets team is. They got their asses kicked in San Francisco against a physical team who played good defense. Then against the Titans, if it wasn't for Will Levis being a complete buffoon, if it wasn't for that block punt for a touchdown, the Titans defense did a good job of putting the clamps down on the Jets, I thought, overall. Now, I understand this isn't the best situation spot for this Denver Broncos team, but I do think this is a pretty good matchup for them. Patrick Surtain, look what the Broncos pass defense did against Godwin, Mike Evans, and Jalen McMillan, and in the passing game of Baker. Like, they did a very good job of slowing them down. Now, Jets are coming off long rest from the Thursday game. I do love Sean Payton versus Robert Saleh. I love that matchup for the Broncos. Now, yeah, is Bo Nix in for a little bit of it? Yeah, sure. Because obviously going up against Tampa Bay, their defense banged up, certainly much easier than the defense you're going to face against the Jets. But I think you're going to be able to run the ball a little bit. I just keep going back to that Titans game and the defensive play that the Titans played against the Jets. I thought kept them very, very competitive. Sean Payton, very good on the road. Jets maybe looking ahead to London. Found this nugget courtesy of our buddy Walter Football Ryan. Teams looking ahead to London that are favorites of -4 or more. 12 and 18 ATS. This is the classic not care game for the Jets, right? They just had the big Thursday night win against a division opponent, already thinking about that London trip, worried about getting all your passports in order, the your mystic healer, make sure he has his passport ready, whatever kind of weird stuff Aaron Rodgers does to travel abroad. He's distracted. This just seems like a game the Jets look past. Meanwhile, you have Bo Nix with a little bit of confidence. You have to me, it's all about the Broncos defense being able to slow down the Jets offense. This is going to be a game come Sunday. Love that you can get Denver with the 7.5.
Yeah, it does seem like the run game is going to be interesting. Tyler Beatty, running back, on being clocked at 20.99 miles per hour last week on his 43-yard run versus the Bucs, second fastest for a ball carrier in week 3 of the NFL. Quote, "I'm very fast. Shoot, I wish I would have scored, but I got a little tight. My legs were a little tight. Definitely pride myself on being fast." This might be what we hoped Jaleel McLaughlin was going to be for us. And by the way, I went a little deeper on the Beatty thing, Sean.
Yes.
He actually has recently announced that the pronunciation of his name is Bidet. And he's changing it because he's currently fighting with his family. And so he's going by Tyler Bidet. So yeah, fun waiver pickup, maybe a prop angle here if you like the run game.
Braylon, also just side note, Braylon Allen has looked awesome.
Man, I'm torn on this one.
No, I mean, cause the situation spot of the extra rest for Jets is good. And obviously they are the more talented team. Rodgers versus Bo Nix, but the Sean Payton versus Robert Saleh. I don't think Robert Saleh has coached a good game yet. I really don't. Like the stuff that went right for them in the Titans game and in that New England game, that wasn't coaching to me. I think this is a show me game by Sean Payton.
Sean Payton versus Nathaniel Hackett as well, or it's like a tag team. It's like the Denver Broncos ownership and Sean Payton versus Hackett and Rodgers.
Well, who's more motivated there? Is this a Nathaniel Hackett revenge game? Does that help the Jets?
Broncos are also staying at the Greenbrier.
Love it
in West Virginia.
Love it. That's all you need, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's go +7.5. I'm also, while I did think Aaron Rodgers looked good, and there's been the talk about the all defenses scheming up taking away Garrett Wilson. Surtain might be able to do something with Wilson by himself. So it'll be an interesting. Certainly will be an interesting matchup. I mean,
let just real quick a recap before we move on to the Broncos season. They went into Seattle, incredibly tough spot, played a very physical game, and we're in that game like basically till the end
without getting a first down. Yeah.
With their offense being horrible. Then you're at home with the rookie quarterback making his second start against the Steelers. And as much as Steelers kind of impose their will, I think the Steelers are the best defense in the league. And even in that, like the Broncos were kind of hanging around late. Then they finally get out of that Sean Payton zone of week 1 and 2 where he can't get a win. They go in as 6-point dogs and just dominate the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now, it's
kind of a bad spot for the Bucks, but yeah,
letdown spot for the Bucks, but not horrible. They're at home against an inferior team, against a non-conference opponent. If the Bucks were a good team, I think you get that win and cover. I just think their season has been pretty decent so far.
Did we mention that the Jets Morgan Moses is not practicing? No,
like the Jets aren't completely healthy either. So I think there's a lot going right for the old Denver Broncos.
Damn, we're agreeing a lot this week.
We had a bunch of disagreement.
Just two, only two. Just holding hands, skipping down the aisle. Last one early. The Eagles of Philadelphia. They are on the road heading down to I guess kind of South Florida on the Bay. Maybe we get a thermometer game here, Sean. The Eagles laying 2 points on the road, -128 on the money line, +108 for the Bucks. 44 is the total. Bucks, Sean, are a close your eyes special. Bucks are looking ahead to Thursday night, and meanwhile the Eagles, not only are they on a back-to-back road spot, very banged up, and they have their bye on deck. Makes you wonder if they're going to rush back any of these important players that are injured.
Yeah, I mean, so Lane Johnson dealing with a concussion, Devonta Smith dealing with a concussion, AJ Brown dealing with the hammy. I mean, you just start with like their win loss without Lane Johnson. Obviously, he's huge, great offensive lineman, but the Bucks on the other side also super injured. Now it sounds like they're going to get their tackle Luke Goedke back, and Vita Vea is practicing, albeit with a brace on. I can't imagine if he goes, he's going to be 100%. They're still waiting on Antoine Winfield and Kalijah Cansey, who are a big part of that defense, especially if Goddard is their best pass catcher that's going to be out there Sunday. Not having Antoine Winfield in the secondary, I think, could be pretty tough for them. And I've been quietly optimistic about this Eagles secondary. Quinyon Mitchell, leading the league and like passes defended. He's done a great job, especially for a rookie. Normally it takes rookies a while to really kind of get to the speed of the NFL. He's looked awesome. Reed Blankenship already 2 interceptions. If you like PFF, he's the highest graded safety in coverage, so he's been playing well. And Jalen Carter really had a breakout game, probably his best game as a pro. So now, obviously, the injuries are huge, but the Eagles still have Saquon Barkley. They still have Dallas Goedert. And I think they're going to be able to move the ball enough. I think this is going to probably end up being a ugly game. The case for the Eagles is, even though Jalen Hurts had some bad turnovers in that first half, the team rallied around him. The team really has his back. Devonta Smith, if you saw that disgusting video of the Saints players spitting on Devonta Smith, AJ Brown had his back. Like the locker room, in a weird way, the early controversy, the losing to Atlanta, dropping the ball there, the bad play calling by Sirianni, as much as it's been a problem, in a weird way, as someone who has my finger on the pulse of the Eagles locker room, I think in a weird way this has actually motivated this team. I think they're going to get up for this game. I think they're going to close it out strong. So yeah, give me the Eagles, but yeah, I think this is if you're betting this, definitely, because I think we're going to get a lot more injury news come Thursday.
Sorry, I was just catching up with the chat.
I don't think Mike Evans is going to have a great game. I know Nick Sirianni has made some horrible in-game decision making, and if you want to fade him for that, I understand it. I can't defend him at this point.
Terrell Furman, host of the WNBA NBA gambling podcast, pointing out Jalen Hurts has lost 9 of his last 12 games.
He's won 2 of his last 3.
That's both can be true.
Yeah.
All right. So I was actually going down a rabbit hole earlier. It's if you must know, it's the tackle for the Tampa Bay Bucks is Luke Goedeke. I know this because I watched a video of him when he was still at Central Michigan, talking about how much he'd like to finish other guys. Poor guy. Just a young offensive lineman, didn't know what hit him in the face. It also sounds like Vita Vea will be back, Sean, this weekend. Not so sure about Antoine Winfield or the other guy you mentioned, Cansey. To me, this is just, you look at the Eagles offensive line, they're very banged up. I think the concussion stuff, especially it seems like Devonta could make it back. Lane Johnson maybe less of a chance. I don't know if that was the tea leaves that I got, but like 3 of your 5 starting offensive linemen are banged up.
But the replacements did really well, so I think that's worth noting.
But the idea that this could be a game that they are actually looking ahead to a bye on, no, I mean, makes a lot of sense. And it's a close your eyes special. So what are we talking about? Give me the Bucks. And you know what, Sean? Love it in a teaser leg.
Hey, if you want to get down on some teaser legs, you know a great place to get down on them, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Bet with the best, baby. Bet with BetUS. America's favorite sports book, been around for 30 plus years. You don't stay in business for 30 plus years in America if you don't have a quality product like BetUS. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Make sure your promo code SGPN is in there so they know we sent you, so we get credit, so we can keep the lights on. Support yourself and the Sports Gambling Podcast. Signing up with BetUS. Get in over there. Yeah, I mean, do I have to explain why you should be getting down on a sports book? Easy deposits, easy withdrawal. Always use the cryptocurrency. Makes it super easy, super fun. And Kramer, I love shopping around on BetUS because BetUS has Steelers at -1, -115. If you're worried about that 1.5,
already got down on it. Thanks, Sean.
If you're looking to get the Vikings, you can find a +3 over there. So and even Broncos +8 -120. So it's always good to have options. And what did you have the Eagles at, Ryan? -2. I would rather take the they got -1 over on Bet US.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it's always great to have options. Make sure you get keep your options open. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS.
I did enjoy you taking a nice dig at the Saints. Real big guy from Philly calling a guy from New Orleans dirty. Okay.
I don't recall any Eagles players spitting on guys who were knocked out.
More of just a general city situation. And by what would you expect? This is the Bounty Gate team. They've been doing. You thought it was Greg Williams? It's the organization. They've been doing it forever. They're still listening to the play calls too. All right, let's hop over to the afternoon slate. 4 games. First one could have a lot of offense in this one. Sean, the Washington Commander football team Redskins. They take to the road with now quote the best quarterback to grace this franchise maybe ever.
I love how everyone's getting their I said it. I said Jaden Daniels was better than Caleb Williams. I said it. Like everyone is loving those takes.
I definitely think some people did say it. I'll give them that.
No, there definitely were. It's just all right, guys. We're not even 3. We're not even a game 4.
Yeah, it's not quite like last season. I don't think Caleb is going to turn into Bryce Young.
I mean, he's not as bad as Bryce Young through 3 games.
In this case, Jaden Daniels certainly looked the part and certainly was the reason the Commanders won that game last week. Plus 3.5 this week as they take to the road to the desert, take on the Cardinals. Plus 155 on the money line. Cardinals minus 175. 50.5 is the total. Cardinals coming off, not the best situation in general. I think I'm exactly where I started with the Cardinals. I've been the defense is not very good, and the offense can be fun at times. Looks like they could be without Trey McBride, although reading some of the beat reporter stuff. Tomorrow is the big day. If he's at practice on Thursday, then he has a chance to progress through the concussion protocol. And with Washington on a short week, Sean, coming off back-to-back games in which they did not punt.
Yeah,
Austin Eckler out, by the way.
I think that's big for them actually, because he
will they be able to do this on the road against another bad defense?
Maybe I'm gonna get maybe I'm crazy for fading them again, but I'm gonna take the Cardinals here. Cardinals coming off a loss, staying at home. You have a rookie quarterback who looked great in that game. First couple games, not as aggressive throwing the ball downfield, but really just had an amazing game against the Bengals. So shout out to him. Looked much better than he had the first couple games. And if you're a Commanders fan, obviously you're through the moon.
Stoked.
Like the guy showed a ceiling of a franchise quarterback. The problem is this is a short week. It's back to back and kind of lost in the fact that they didn't punt was they didn't force a punt against the Cincinnati Bengals. So now you're on the road again, short week after drinking a bunch of champagne. I mean, in general, when you win big as a dog on Monday night and then you're on the road again in a short week, that is a tough spot. And I think Austin Eckler being out is pretty big because he was a nice part of that offense, got them some first downs, got him going in the run game, big special teams plays. Like if you go back and look at it, I'm sure he's responsible for a number of first downs that prevented them from punting. I think if this game does turn into a shootout, eventually the Commanders are going to hit a wall and have to punt. And I don't know if their defense can keep them in the game. So now, certainly if you're saying Jaden Daniels looks lights out, how can you not take him in the points? I get it. I just think this is a tough spot. And even look like Jaden Daniels took a ton of shots. He took a ton of shots in game 2 against the Giants. He was briefly out with some sort of rib thing, whatever was going on there. I mean, look at that deep ball to Terry McLaurin, or what was the one he threw the touchdown to? The deep ball, was that McLaurin as well?
Yep.
He took an incredible shot right to the ribs. Now you have a short week. These guys in the pros really hit. I think as a quarterback, it's tough to end. He's carried the ball a bunch of times. Like this guy has taken an incredible amount of shots. Feel free to isolate that in these first 3 weeks. And I think it's going to matter when you have to travel again.
Cliff Kingsbury, does he know more about Kyler, or does Kyler know more about his offense?
Yeah, we were debating this in the office. I think there's probably a little of both there.
I like the matchup of Gannon and his defensive creativity, even though his defense has not been good, against the very predictable offense that the Cliff and Washington's going to roll out there. The biggest difference we saw in the game against the Bengals was that they hit on a couple of those vertical passing plays.
Yeah.
And a couple of those were just great read. It was zero coverage and he chucked it up and the receiver made a play. That I don't know if I'm necessarily saying amazing.
But also the Bengals defense has been so bad.
But the Cardinals defense can be bad too.
Yeah.
I'd flip it around though, where I think the Cardinals are going to eat is not just Marvin Harrison. Maybe McBride's out, but guys like Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch that can run routes.
Oh yeah.
They're going to eat this secondary up. And I think this could be a real show out game for Kyler Murray. I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite plays on the board.
And the Cardinals need this more, right? Like they're a team who kind of had a little expectations. Washington, even if Jaden Daniels loses this and the Commanders lose this, they're still riding that high from Monday night. Like he'll make a couple good throws. He'll make this game exciting. Ultimately, they'll lose like 34-27.
Would you say that the Commanders could have lost the game to the Bengals?
Yeah, definitely.
Imagine going 2 straight games, not punting, and both games
were losable. They were both one-score games.
They would have lost to the Giants if the Giants had a kicker. And it's
not even to like take away from what Jaden Daniels is doing. It's just to highlight how bad his defense is.
I also think, in a way, the last 2 weeks should inform you how to play defense against this guy. And I think we're going to see Gannon force him to roll. I think you're going to see a predictable game plan for the defense. They're going to force him to move. They're going to force him to move the pocket and go from there. Cause I will say he takes the hit. He's willing to take the hit. So put him in a situation where he's going to catch that late-ish hit every time. And like you said, he was flopping around like a fish after
he just took a ton of shots.
But no, to me, this is a bet on this Arizona offense. We saw this a couple weeks ago against the Rams, but when they have an exploitable matchup, they hit the gas and they didn't let off it. So Arizona by 1 million.
Rich in the chat saying Cliff's eyes will be more red than the Cards uniforms. Arizona cover, rise up, Red Sea. Troy tuning, of course, big Commanders fan, saying the Commanders are winning 11 games. You dummies, this division sucks.
I will say, Sean, as someone who generally is not even like worried about a Commanders fan, it has been very interesting watching them go on this 2-game win streak. Very interesting. Some would say they're a little. They're out over their skis, maybe.
No, I think they'll be happy if they're 2-2 still. John,
no, but they're happy that they have the franchise quarter. Like that's the part where I'm worried because they anoint this guy as the franchise quarterback, and then he pops a rib the next week, and everyone's got to roll back those tapes.
No,
like,
John
RG3 all over again.
John, the chat saying Jaden isn't a pussy. That dude had no problem starting games in the SEC. Put that fake narrative to sleep. I think it's.
I'm not calling him a pussy.
Yeah, no, I'm not calling him a pussy either. I just think a guy of his frame can't take that many shots to the ribs.
Big defensive tackle falls on you, like something's gonna pop.
Yeah.
And honestly, what I would say to John is you probably want your quarterback to learn how to slide, not say I prefer to dive. I'm more comfortable.
First.
I'm more comfortable.
Ask Vic how that worked.
It's like, yeah, that's fine. But like dudes like a big, strong guy like Anthony Richardson literally had to leave 2 separate NFL games last year. So I if I was a Commanders fan, I would hope he learned how to slide because his running is insanely elusive. I mean, it's the closest thing we have to Lamar in the
Ryan,
league.
Who are the Commanders?
The Commanders? They're the Washington football team, formerly the Redskins. Next up, 1:05 p.m. on the West Coast. Game number 2 in the late window. We got the New England Patriots, the San Francisco 49ers.
It's a baby fucking wheel,
man. It felt a little bit more grim last week with the 49ers injury situation, but now they're laying 10.5, minus 550 on the money line. Patriots plus 450, 39.5 is the total.
Ryan, I know you said a little more grim, but they also lost Javon Hargrave for the season. That kind of this week, that kind of got lost. Brock Purdy dealing with back soreness. Trent Williams having trouble staying out on the field, cardio, conditioning, cramping up a bunch. Debo looks like he's out. Christian McCaffrey, Zeke Heil is learning some German to get his Achilles. It's always good news when you leave America to seek a second opinion for your medical. He's gonna be fine.
I'm sure he'll be fine.
I'm just laughing my ass off for the guy said he might be back. He's probably gonna be back week 2 in my mentions. What are you talking about?
So Hargrave is.
Christian McCaffrey's not playing this season. People need to realize that.
Brock Purdy had a full practice. So what?
Yeah, no, I think he's okay, but like he's gonna play, but he still ran the ball 10 times and took some shots.
Sounds like Kittle will be back.
Oh, that is big for them.
Hargrave, I don't think is out for the year. Are you sure about that? I think he's just not practicing right now.
I thought it was a torn pec out for the year.
Tricep. Maybe he hasn't been IR'd yet. Debo not practicing still, and it sounds like Trent Williams. They're calling it an illness, so maybe it is just he's out of shape and he can't handle it. But it sounds like it's not going to prevent him from playing. I mean, in general, he didn't practice on Wednesdays. So
Kyle Shanahan revealed defensive tackle Javon Hargrave likely will miss the rest of the season after sustaining a partial triceps tear.
Yeah, I saw that he didn't practice because of it, but they also hadn't moved him to the IR yet.
Yeah.
So anyway, I say all that to say, if I think after we watched the Patriots beat the Bengals, we both said, well, this might be the best we've seen of the Patriots. The Bengals defense has since gone on to be one of the worst in the NFL.
Yeah.
And to me, I came into this thinking, oh yeah, I'm good. This Patriots team on a back-to-back road spot with the little bit extra rest is maybe going to be a good spot to slide into. Maybe the San Francisco team's vulnerable, but I think in a similar sense that we're going to see with Buffalo this year, I think this San Francisco team is going to be able to blow out a team like this. I think their defense is going to be strong enough. I think the defensive matchup alone is fine. And like I said, I don't think I'm as worried about what the offense is going to look like. I think they're going to be healthy. I think it's another week of Ayuk getting reacclimated. Juwan Jennings looked pretty fucking good last week. So yeah, I know they lost to McVay. I know there maybe you can even call it a little bit of a letdown spot, but I'm actually going to lay the points here with the San Francisco 49ers. I'm just out on the Patriots.
Yeah.
What's there to be in on?
Well,
I mean, last week, sure, you could call it a bad spot.
Yeah. Horrible spot. And they took Seattle to good. They took Seattle to overtime.
I don't think Seattle's very good either.
No, that's fair.
They're a very fraudulent 3-0 team.
San Francisco 29th against the run. So I think the path to the Patriots hanging around in this game is pounding the rock with Ramondre Stevenson, giving a vet like Jacoby Brissett some easy throws. And I think, that Deion White, I think is going to be able to create a pass rush against this 49ers team. Like, what Brock Purdy, his 10 scrambles. I mean, he was very fortunate. He didn't get sacked more than he did in that game. And the Patriots quietly have a pass rush. So I think giving them 10.5 points in a game that's going to be uglier than people imagine, I think it's a hair high. So I like the Pats. Dogs of 6 or more. Ryan, dare I trot out that stat that everyone has probably seen?
You shouldn't. You're a gut handicapper. It's due to come back.
12-1 ATS. And if big dogs are barking, I'm not going to fade them.
Yeah, I understand why you're fading the 49ers here.
No, and look at the 49ers season so far. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong for them.
Yeah, and I think they're going to beat up on a bad team here because of it. So, there's only a few teams here that I think don't have enough pushback, and this is one of them. So yeah, Niners roll. Niners again. They're not missing McCaffrey yet. Game number 3, Las Vegas. It sounds like Coach Pierce might be losing it already. Sean, I might have to take L on this one. Unraveling fast. Cleveland comes to town, and we're gonna have some listeners out at the Circa enjoying the festivities.
Shout out to Jacob. Just got the email. They got hooked up with if you missed the story from I forget what episode, we were hanging out with Derek and having some drinks. A couple listeners recognized us, came up, said hi. Derek's like, you guys are awesome. When they were big Browns fans. They're like, hey, when the Browns come out to play the Raiders, hotel rooms on us. So they got them hooked up, and they're going to be out there this weekend.
Yeah, I can only imagine the Browns Cleveland fans taking over Las Vegas, and they're a little bit on edge because I don't think they're happy with their quarterback. Anyway, The Las Vegas Raiders are laying 2 -130 on the money line. 37 is the total. This Cleveland was favored on the look ahead here, but Deshaun Watson is that bad. Antonio Pierce, if his team how do you think his team feels about him? Because he basically said, some of you, if you're not getting paid, if you weren't getting paid so much money, I'd cut your ass right now because you're playing like shit.
Now, who was he referring to?
I could have sworn Easy or someone had referenced Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams had some real bad body language, but I think he was more calling out the defense.
I actually have not seen any, there's no way to find out actually who he was talking to, but the way that he said it made me think it was someone who has a nice contract. Or it's not, someone who's acting like a star.
Yeah, I think according to the film guys, it was a lot of the defense kind of dogging it against the Panthers. But it could be Devontae Adams, who goes out of his way to say Jaden Daniels is so great. I wish I was playing with them. That's horrible. It's like these two teams are the worst vibes of any two teams. Like the only thing that can save the Browns season is, at what point do they put Jameis Winston in? I don't think it's this game.
They don't have an offensive line, dude. You saw the Giants defense.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
Max Crosby is going to destroy you know what? Max Crosby should go get his his therapeutic massage certification.
Lot of temptation in Vegas for Deshaun Watson.
Max Crosby.
Hopefully he doesn't, Ryan. Hopefully Deshaun Watson doesn't end up in the taxi cab that we ended up in, because that guy was making a hard push for the massage parlor. He was basically driving us there unless we told him, no man, we're just it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
He goes, sex with you.
He goes, I assume we're going to you guys are pretty tense. You want to get the massages? They're like, no, we're fine. We're just gonna host the show. He's like, are you sure? They'll do anything. I'm like, all right, I'm sure they will. It is Las Vegas. You can find that.
Well, one way or another, he'll have hands all over him because it's going to be Max Crosby and the rest of that defensive line.
Well, and Max Crosby wasn't 100% last week. I do think that was part of it, but he was saying, hey, that loss was a wake up call. I mean, Antonio Pierce briefly saying he might bench Gardner Minshew. Probably not great for the vibes.
Why does he? It's like an angry parent where they always take it out on one kid. Like, what is Gardner Minshew doing wrong?
Yeah.
When we watch these games,
it was the defense that was horrible.
I didn't watch that game and say, "Wow, Gardner Minshew sucks."
No, it was their defense sucks. I mean, certainly you should be able to put a points against the Panthers defense, but
also you couldn't stop Andy Dalton, the Deontay Johnson.
Yes, I mean it was much more about the Raiders defense. I would imagine Raiders are going to get up for it, but Browns, they're going to bring some fans. Those fans don't give a shit if they're good. They're Browns fans. I do think your point coming back to it, Ryan. The tackles have been banged up, and then they just lost Teller, their guard. They put him on IR, and then Myles Garrett.
Who's very good, Wyatt Teller.
Yeah, Wyatt Teller, very good. He looks like he's on the IR. Myles Garrett, he needs surgery in the off season, but he's gonna play through it, which sometimes is the worst case scenario because you get 60% Myles Garrett, which hey, it was Myles Garrett. He's awesome, but man, it's just. That would have been awesome against this Raiders offensive line, but Myles Garrett not being 100%, Deshaun Watson being your quarterback, the Browns haven't figured out how to run the ball, which could have been a saving grace in this offense. I think you have to go Raiders here, and I'm surprised it's only 2.
And yeah, Jerome Ford did not practice today.
Their running game's been bad.
Well, the offensive line was bad. I watched that game fairly closely last week, and while the Giants have good players on the D line, they also they weren't blocking well. They weren't communicating well. Certainly a sack ladder somewhere on the defensive line, maybe in order here. I have a fun nugget for you, Sean.
Yeah.
Cleveland Browns are 8-43 on third downs this season, which is insane.
It's Bryce Young numbers,
but
that would be a great trade.
But
Bryce Young for Deshaun Watson, who says no.
Oh man, Tepper's got plenty of money. He'll figure out that contract. So Austin Gale over on X posted a graphic. The EPA of every Browns quarterback since 2000 from weeks 1 through 3. Now we know how notably bad this crop of quarterbacks has been. And I'm Brian Hoyer, Kelly Holcomb, Tim Couch, Derek Anderson, Baker Mayfield, Josh McCown, Trent Dilfer, Colt McCoy, Jacoby Brissett, Baker Mayfield again, Charlie Fry, Kelly Holcomb again, Brandon Whedon, Tim Couch, Jeff Garcia, Deshaun Kaiser. Remember him? Brandon Whedon. Remember he was the old guy.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor, Derek Anderson, Baker Mayfield one more time, Brady Quinn, and then Deshaun Watson this year, the lowest EPA per play per dropback. 23rd out of 23. And by the way, his 2023 season was 21st. I mean, get rid of this guy. You can't win with him. Get free Jameis. Although don't free him too much because I want the Giants to sign him next year. Easy means this is easy. I'm back on my Raiders, Sean. Although they've not been good to me. They got not putting them in the parlay this week. All right, game number 4 in the late window. This was going to be a fun game until Herbert went down again, and then the tackle went down, and then the other tackle went down.
Joel and Rashawn Slater.
The Chargers, they're catching 7.5. This one, I would imagine this number is going to continue to climb. Boy, you almost feel bad for the Chargers. The injury thing's happening again. New coach, new everything. The same curse. They
are so cursed. Chiefs, they should have never built that stadium on a ancient Indian burial ground.
Chiefs minus 385 on the money line. Chargers plus 315. 40 is the total. Chiefs are on a back-to-back road spot. They have looked a little susceptible. Some would argue that they could be 0-3 on the season, but man, much like the Eagles, this Chargers team has a bye next week. They are very banged up. I see no reason to start Justin Herbert. I see no.
Well, Ryan, then you clearly haven't listened to Harbaugh.
I know
because he started him last week in Pittsburgh. He's going to start him again this week.
Both your tackles are out this time, though.
Doesn't give a fuck. He's going to run 12 personnel. He's going to have some wrinkles up his sleeve, and he's going to catch this Chiefs team sleeping a hair. The Chargers have, I wouldn't say had Mahomes' number, but
they've overperformed against them.
Yeah, he's 8-2 straight up. He's 4-5-1 ATS though against the Chargers. Only 2-4 ATS versus Justin Herbert. So if they can get out there on the field, I know they're incredibly banged up, but this is the get up spot. This is a motivation spot. This is why you bring Harbaugh in. They show up for motivation spots.
All right,
I've been locked in on this Chargers team. I said they're not going to let this punk ass Raiders team come in after they embarrassed them. I said they're going to go and beat an inferior team in the Carolina Panthers. I said they're going to try and do what the Steelers do, but they just can't do it because the Steelers are a better team. The Chargers are going to cover this spread. Chiefs are 21st in defensive EPA. This is a decent matchup for Dobbins. We've seen sub offense, like everyone has been able to move the ball against the Chiefs. Every offense has. Now, granted, they've played decent offenses, but I don't know, man. This is an easy sleepy spot for the Chiefs. Easy.
Yeah, the problem is the Chiefs keep squeaking them out, and they're not
squeak. Yeah, squeak.
There's nothing sleepy about it.
Get your little toy. Squeak, squeak, squeak. I mean, Mahomes even admits he's not playing well right now.
Sean, the same thing happened last week that will happen this week. The pressure will get there. Herbert's broke ass ankle will go down, and then whatever close game that was happening, much like last week against the Steelers, will stretch out into a 2-score game. You're being silly right now. The Chiefs are very healthy.
6-point dogs, Ryan. Look out.
Again, eventually that trend will end. Not only
eventually,
the Chiefs have no one DNP, no one even limited in practice. Meanwhile, the Chargers.
Isaiah Pacheco's playing.
He's on IR.
Okay.
Do you understand how practice report you're making?
I'm having fun, Ryan. Yes, I know.
Again, they're very healthy and they have Carson Steele. The fact that you're betting against Carson Steele, I'll get to that later.
Carson Steele knows a good number when he sees
Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater, and some guy named Trey Pipkins the third, who also plays tackle, all didn't practice today. You got Joey Bosa. How's he? Is he practicing? No. Junior Colson, no. Khalil Mack, limited.
Khalil Mack's going to play, and he's going to have a big game.
I mean, Hayden Hurst even banged up. Sean, are you sure?
Yeah, 100%.
All right, I'm laying it.
Dog.
This is
on the road in a game they don't need. Ryan, you don't have many dogs. You
don't think there's gonna be Chiefs fans in this?
Nah, they don't care about this game. This is Harbaugh's time to shine. This is why. I mean, the khakis are pressed. He's going to be ready for this game.
We've talked about 13 games. I have 7 favorites and 6 dogs. Bad math. All right, Sunday Night Football. The Buffalo Bills coming off a little Monday night snooze fest. The starters even got some rest time here, so I can't imagine any sort of rest situation will be a problem. Ravens, meanwhile, they got off the schneid, as Colby likes to say. Now the big marquee matchup here. Ravens laying 2.5 -136 on the money line, +118 for the Bills. I mean, it does seem like the Bills are at a high point and the Ravens not at a low point, but still probably some value in my mind on them. This is an interesting matchup. My gambling instincts say that, or at least early in the week, were that this is the time to take the Ravens here in a spot where the offensive line for the Ravens played its best game in week 3. The running game got going. Hopefully they don't forget about it. They gave Justice Hill a little contract extension, and Zay Flowers continues to look good. The Bills, on the other hand, the offense looks great. I just wonder if this defense is going to be able to shut down this running attack. I don't think we've seen them tested in that regard yet.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it does feel like, hey, quote unquote, Ravens are due. And going back to 3-0 teams who are underdogs playing their 4th game. This is weird, but I mean, it sounds stupid, but I think this is going to be a close game, and Justin Tucker is bad. I mean, he's 2 for 5 on field goals of 40+ yards. Like, that used to be the secret sauce. Hey, we can hit field goals from 50+ automatic. It sounds stupid, but I think
throwing a kicker handicap first.
Yeah. Ravens have 8 home losses after leading by 10 points at any point in the game, 3 more than any other team. Meanwhile, the Bills are just firing on all cylinders. Ravens offensive line has had issues, Ryan. Like, the big reason why ultimately, at least for me, and I feel like you mentioned it as well, why I'm glad I took the Ravens on the under was because of the offensive line turnover. And I think this Bills defense, as much as I was always just like, hey, Matt Milano's out there going to be in trouble, defense is playing really pretty darn well. And dominated a Miami team on the road that has some decent skill players. Did a pretty damn good job against the Cardinals minus that kick return. Obviously, Arizona had some success early, destroyed the Jacksonville Jaguars, obviously offensively, but also defensively. They're a tough team to fade, and Josh Allen is a dog right now. I mean, I get it's a short week. They don't need it. Maybe Ravens, slightly more desperate team. That, like, to me, this is just getting cute. If I take the Ravens, I'm going to go Bills here as a dog.
I don't think it's cute. Sunday night at home. Again, the Ravens not that far off from being 3-0.
Josh Allen he's got vibes of he's going to have an MVP season.
He's not going to turn the ball over all year. Is that the vibes you get from him?
Yeah, like, I think he's playing really clean football. Lamar, and what scared me the most was the Ravens really had trouble putting away that game. They were up 28-6, and they let the Cowboys back into that game where it became a game. And I'm like, oh shit, am I have to sweat this Ravens game out?
Yeah, I mean, the onside kick played a little bit of a part there, which you can't let that happen. What shocked me when I was looking into this game is how these are the top 2 offenses per weighted DVOA. And so, yeah, I mean, it should be a good game. I'm going to lean to the home team. I hate laying 2.5 twice in the same show, Sean.
Yep.
It's not
setting yourself up for failure.
But I'm going to trust my instincts here. The instincts always. This is the time to take Lamar. Regular season game. Bills on a bit of a heater. Although on a short week, there is a little bit of short week sauce there.
No, I see the case for the Ravens.
Why, and also just why is this not 3? Because if it was 3, then I wouldn't be worried about laying 2.5.
Well, I mean, the Bills have looked like a much better team than the Ravens.
Yeah, slightly.
100%.
I mean, yeah, the Jags game last week is going to skew the opinion for sure.
Well, and also the Ravens got beat at home by the Raiders.
Sure. Yeah, these are all fair points. With you're highlighting why there's value on the Ravens this week.
Really? How so?
Because the perception's lower on them because they lost to the Chiefs, they lost to the Raiders, and now everything's been corrected.
No, but the perception's higher than maybe it should be because they beat a dog shit Cowboys team that the market thought was good.
Oh, I mean, I think it's all factored in, but I think stock high on Buffalo, stock relatively down on Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
It should be 3 points. Tennessee.
No, you're getting a great deal then.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking it. I like getting a discount on my eggs. Tennessee, Miami, Monday Night Football game number 1. Again, warning: we have
I hate this doubleheader. Team. I hate them.
Somehow we've been rescued. We have been rescued. The Titans are not road favorites here. Fortunately, they actually it did open that way, Sean. Miami is laying a point at home. It sounds like they're going to start Snoop Huntley, formerly of the Ravens and the Browns.
Both these teams are 0-3 ATS. Like this is just
Tennessee looking to the bye too.
Do you want to take Will Levis period at this point, or do you want to take Snoop Huntley as a favorite?
Could be the last Will Levis start.
Could it?
If they get to the bye and you gotta make a change, right?
I mean,
you got Mason Rudolph in the wing. How do you get rid of Malik Willis?
That was apparently a bad look.
Why'd you trade him away for nothing?
Miami has looked so bad, Ryan. So bad. Just complete no show against Seattle. I don't know why.
Tim Boyle or Snoop Huntley. You can't. Huntley, I guess, is kind of fun, but
yeah, Achan. They should have just pounded the rock against Seattle. You can run the ball against Seattle. Achan had 6 touches by the time Skylar Thompson threw 13 passes. Meanwhile, the Titans, they've had 6 non-offensive touchdowns go against them.
You got to take. We said we were quitting Tennessee.
Yeah, like I mean, I almost want to give this game to the chat because I feel like either side I pick, I'm going to be really mad. If I take the Titans and they lose, I'm gonna be like, what was I doing?
All right.
What did I need to say? What did I need to see from the Titans to stop taking them? If I take the Dolphins, I'm like, what? I took Snoop Huntley or Tim Boyle as a favorite. This is what, and then the Titans finally win. Troy saying he doesn't think Skylar's much worse than Tua. He looked horrible.
Skylar's not playing.
Skylar's out.
It's gonna be a guy who wasn't on the team couple weeks ago.
All right, I'm taking the Titans. Yeah. Come on, Titans. Give me one win.
Fucking A. It's not going on our card.
No, didn't go on our card last week. That was a great idea.
But do we like it in a teaser?
No.
Absolutely not. Last one, Monday night doubleheader game number 2. Seattle, Detroit. The Lions also looking ahead to a bye week here. Seattle pretty banged up, especially on the interior of that defensive line. Seattle catching 3.5 here, plus 163 on the money line, minus 185 for Detroit. 60 or 46.5 is the total. As I was mentioning earlier, I think Seattle, one of the more overrated teams in the league. They have not really been tested all that much. They have played the Broncos and the Patriots, Sean.
Real quick, Ryan. I like Thomas Ortega's idea. We got to martingale the Titans. Get all the money we lost in the first 3 weeks back.
I'm not doubling up a bet on Will Levis right now.
I almost want to put like $2,000 on the Titans now. Just get it all back in one swing, Ryan. Do we go mega Titans bet?
No.
Hit us up at Gambling Podcast.
We just said we're not doing that. What are you doing? Yeah. What else to add here? Well, I think to me, I think I said this to you like Sunday night when I first saw the openers. I said, holy shit, I'm going to put all my money on Detroit this week. I watched Leonard Williams go out for Seattle.
Yep.
He was a critical run
Byron Murphy
defender. Byron Murphy, the rookie, critical run defender. I understand that everyone is excited about Mr. McDonald. I understand that everyone is excited about what this Seattle team's done so far. We've watched Geno make a lot of bad plays, and a lot of big plays too, to give him credit. But to me, this is a game where Detroit just they get it done on the ground. There's been too much fucking shenanigans going on. I would imagine that Dan Campbell's gonna bite the soap himself if he sees any more fucking shenanigans out of this offense from Detroit. But run the damn ball. If you just run the ball against this Seattle team, they will win the game. And on the other side, what has been the problem? Geno's been getting pressured. I think this Detroit team might be able to get after it a little bit. So
yeah, I like Detroit's ability to get pressure. I'm still skeptical of Geno Smith. Yeah, I'm still skeptical. Although Jared Goff hasn't looked amazing so far. I just pray
he really has had moments.
What's up?
He's had bad moments.
Well, and we didn't talk about it on the recap show, but I mean, very fortunate for the Lions that they said that snap didn't count right before the 2-minute warning at half where he threw a pick six.
Definitely a pick
even
six.
though it should have counted. Now, granted, maybe the whistle stopped, whatever, but got a break there. But Ryan, Derek put us onto this handicap. Lions, if the fans have a lot of time to drink, are a tough out in Detroit. It's going to be rocking. This is a great spot for them to kind of recapture some of their lost confidence that they had there. And this is just, they're at home. They're going to be celebrating going into the bye. And the Seahawks team are incredibly banged up. They're going to feel fine if they're 3-1. I don't think they're going to be desperate. I worry a little bit about the Lions secondary, as I always do when I'm backing the Lions. But I think ultimately Lions ground it, pound it, and get it done.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite plays on the board.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Massive disadvantage. We didn't even bring up the revenge from last year. Seattle took them down.
Seattle
37-31.
came in there and it was a crazy game. They got the win.
It was a comeback, if you remember. It went to overtime, and yeah, I do think that God, Dan Campbell, like, go watch the tape. If you don't forget about the running game in all of your games, you don't have an overtime sweat. You don't lose to the Bucks. There's so many things change. So figure it out, fix it. And Detroit -3.5 LFG, as Tom Brady said.
LFG.
Which, by the way, I are people in the Tom Brady. Like, at what point do you get him off the air? It's awkward. At least, dude. That who's he hosting with, or who's the he was with Greg Olson last year.
Kevin. Burkhardt.
Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson knew each other from outside of commentating. They had chemistry. He
almost needs like Julian Edelman, or someone who's his friend that he feels like he could talk to.
I mean, this is easy, right? You get
Gronk.
Get a square man with Edelman and Brady, and then put Gronk on the side.
Yeah, the feeling in the goose. Kenny Moose and Goose.
Kenny Moose and Goose was one of the best, but even then, I mean,
Gronk would be a great goose.
I would never say something nice about Cowboys, but Troy Aikman and Moose were both. I even say Tony Romo slightly better than
Romo.
Tom Brady sucks at calling. He literally goes, and this is the play that just happened. And here's the obvious thing that you're already thinking about at home, but let me say it out loud.
And boom goes the dynamite. They need Ryan, poll question. Who lasts longer in the NFL, Deshaun Watson or Tom Brady in their current roles? I think the move is they're going to sweep Tom Brady into the studio. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Great.
But the obvious thing is we want to hear you explain stuff that you're the best quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
Why? What is he not seeing? What is he missing? Give us some insight. We all know that taking a safety here is bad. You know what? Really chapped my ass is watching that Ravens Cowboys game when when Dak was in the end zone and then threw it to a lineman who was an ineligible receiver, and the lineman caught the ball, and then it was like, wait, that should be a safety. Like, and Tom Brady didn't say anything. Like, explain us the rule. Explain what you're thinking about in that situation. Hey, maybe there's some rule loophole. You guys, Patriots fans, are great at exploiting loopholes. I didn't know that. Yeah, like, I still don't think that's right, but whatever it was, that was like a perfect time that I wanted to hear from Tom Brady and some insight on what it was like to be Tom Brady. Got zero. Crazy.
Also, whatever like plastic surgery he's gotten, it sounds like he's
like impacting his voice.
It sounds like he's got marbles in his mouth. I don't get any of it. I don't get the appeal. It's not riveting. I mean, imagine we got to tune into a big game, like a playoff game, and Tom Brady's on the call.
Don't want it, Ryan. Don't want it. All right, time for our lock, dog, and tease, brought to you by Rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Hooking us up with the lock, dog, and tease. Ryan, how are your models doing? Anything popping over on the Rhythm model?
We're not going to talk about it because one of the models is on the Cowboys.
Both Rhythm's AI model and my SGPN NFL model both love the Rams catching 3 points. Rhythm's model and my model also both like the Eagles laying 2. I'm sure, and they also both also like the Bengals laying 4, and both like the Broncos plus 7.5. Like, I'm really. My model, when it syncs up with Rhythm, that's when I have some good betting. You're probably wondering, I mean, we're coming off a historic week, Ryan. You were 12-4. I'm 10-6. I'm doing the math. That is 22-30 ATS. You haven't gotten a model going yourself. What are you waiting for? Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial and get going today. Also awesome for props. You'll be here shouting Rhythm out a bunch during the prop show as well.
All right, I think I already gave out my my locks, or made it
really
seem relatively.
You hinted, Ryan. You were like, I really like this spot for them.
If I was gonna lean, this would be the spot. Arizona.
Well, listening to other gambling shows, yeah, that's officially a lean for me on this. Get the fuck out of here. Go take that to a tower in Pisa.
What's interesting
why
is
are people afraid to pick a game? Pick the side you like, and then come up with some device, whether it's a lock, whether it's your 5 units, whatever, that are your favorite plays. Most people are not betting 16 games against the spread in the NFL. There are some degenerates. Shout out to Doug Stanhope. By the way, Ryan, I don't know if our audience all know it, but I'm doing a weekly podcast with Doug Stanhope, stand-up comedian, and Brendan Walsh called Get to the Points. It's a wild ass show. If you know Doug, Joe Rogan podcast, Brendan Walsh, also Joe Rogan podcast, Howard Stern, Crank Anchors, tons of credits from those guys. I'm kind of the ringleader in the middle. Fun show. Check it out on SGPN. Doug does bet on every game, but even that, he goes, well, these are my, and he bets like, $10, whatever. Like, he has his $50 plays. Those are his big plays. I don't know why people are afraid to give a fucking opinion on a play. A lean just sounds like something like they're afraid. Oh, I will be tarnished. It's a National Football League. What are you doing?
I would say that the majority of people that give out leans, sell picks.
That is 100%
because you don't want to give out the free stuff to the people. So you say the lean, and then the paying customer gets it's like OnlyFans, right? You get to see the ass crack. You want to see the full crack around to the front. You got to get the OnlyFans out there.
We did break down that ass crack photo that made the rounds. Check it out. Get to the points on YouTube,
but also
in the SGPN app.
I've heard. I mean, I almost have to just give a shout out. There's a notable football handicapper who co-hosts a show, the former NFL offensive lineman, and generally the gist of the show. It's fun to check in from time to time, and they basically just fucking give out teasers and leans.
Yes.
The The host,
favorite 2-unit plays.
the host, who by the way went to
6
Princeton,
point.
he gave out 42 or 21 teaser legs. It was one of the most hilarious performances I've ever seen. So be careful of the teasers this week. But yeah, then another notable show, a network that names itself after a tool. They actually have the nerve to post lean graphics.
Yeah.
When they're recapping the previous show, they have a lean recap and then they have a best bets recap. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, just
what are you in kindergarten?
Call it like your 1-unit plays and your 2-unit plays. Ryan and I pick every NFL game against the spread. And then, yeah, the locks are kind of maybe our favorite stuff. We also do the circa million. Obviously those, I mean, honestly, my betting is usually whatever, we like on the circa million. Maybe I'll add a couple more in there and some money line stuff and some deviant stuff.
And then you listen to the guys who are like, it's like listening to two Italian fellas have a phone conversation. It's like, get to the fucking, just say what you mean. Don't talk around it. That would be a thing I would look at. Surprise me.
Ricky Sherlock in the chat saying, hammer every game. Don't be soft. Yeah, come on. That's a mindset.
That's the thing that most of these sharp people don't understand and have a hard time getting in the mindset.
People love gambling.
They want action all throughout the day. They don't give a shit about your ROI or your fucking abacus. Locks.
Yes.
Arizona -3.5.
Okay.
Lock number 2. Detroit -3.5.
Okay.
For my dog. I'm tempted to go dance with the devil for the second week with my Minnesota Vikings. You know what? Let's do it. Minnesota Vikings on the money line. We'll go small dog. Well, I didn't want to do a little Jags action because that is the ultimate desperation spot. Teaser. Tampa +8.
Great teaser leg.
Kansas City -1.5.
Okay, I don't hate that.
These are pretty sharp teaser legs.
Look out!
You have to admit.
Put that in the sheath, Ryan.
For the final leg of my teaser, I'm gonna do it. Minnesota +8.5.
Oh wow! Okay, you're putting your tease and your dog in the same one.
Yep.
All right.
I feel like I told you last week. Just feeling good, seeing things sharply. 2020 all day.
Okay, so for me, I mean, I'm gonna keep locking this team up. Pittsburgh Steelers -1.5. Great spot. Like it's just crazy.
Hasn't failed you yet.
I almost want to lock up Arizona -3.5. I do really like that. Can I get to Cincy -4? Is that am I getting too cute?
Yeah, we said it in the moment that it would be too cute to go too heavy on this game because Cincinnati does look like hot garbage.
Okay.
I mean, if you really break down Cincy's season, they always get up and play the Chiefs tight. And other than that, hot garbage.
Yeah, because they could win by 3. I'm gonna go Denver +7.5, Ryan, as my other lock.
Okay.
This team isn't bad. Like they're going to be able to hang around in this game. And for my money line, Bears ain't shit. Give me the Los Angeles Rams on the money line. They get this win.
I like that.
It's wild to me that they are this big of an underdog. For my tease, you got to take the Bills +8.5. That is just sharp tease action.
I don't like the Bills, but I love that tease. I like Baltimore -2.5 and Buffalo +8.5.
New Orleans +8.5. I mean, who is the Falcons? Come on, what are they going to have a blowout?
Hate week. Be careful.
Blowout win? No, it is hate week, which means it's going to be a game.
Yeah.
Tennessee in a tease. That's just. Or
no. Do not put Tennessee in a tease. What do you do? We discussed this earlier. You're going against all that. This is why we took the notes ahead of time. You're not going to throw. So you got New Orleans.
Yep.
You got Buffalo.
Yep.
I mean, it's tough for you because you're on the wrong side of this KC game. That's where you're running into problems.
Yeah.
Why don't you throw Minnesota in there? That's a great teaser leg.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Minnesota +8.5. All right. That feels pretty good card. So circa million, we got our locks. Arizona -3.5, which I also lock. or also like, and we'll be getting down on Pittsburgh -1.5, Denver +7.5. We needed a dog, Ryan, and I kind of think we go 2 dogs here.
Rams, right?
Rams, right?
Yeah. Rams or Vikings?
Rams or Vikings? What are we doing? I mean, Chicago sucks. Like the other one's a division game. I like Minnesota.
Rams are banged up. I don't have a strong. I mean, I like Minnesota more. You like the Rams more. So we could put Tennessee on the card. That's a joke.
No,
that's a joke. Yeah. Why don't we do? Man, which one? Do you also teased Minnesota?
Yeah.
Rams are outside. They're a dome team for the first time. I'm just trying to pick apart
Caleb Williams offensively. I mean, Ryan, just don't you want to be? I mean, we watched that game with Ryan Connor, who's a big Bears fan. Didn't it feel so good to be on the opposite side of that game the entire time?
Did. Yeah. All right. I mean, can't go wrong here.
All right.
What could possibly
Rams +3. So that's a good circa million card.
And then for Survivor.
Oh well, Ryan. I feeling we're gonna be okay in Survivor here.
Yeah.
So
I think we're gonna pass on through.
This feels like a good card, Ryan. We got it figured out. Hey, reminder: submit to Degen University, degen.university. Toss us a nice 5-star rating on Spotify. We've been in the charts, top 50 sports podcasts on Spotify. I mean, we're chopping it up with the NFL shows, the ESPN shows, but we need your help. So even if you listen somewhere else, listen on Spotify.
Yeah, leave
for 60
a comment.
seconds. Oh yeah, and comments. And we will next episode we will answer some of the questions on Spotify. So if you want to submit a question, go into Spotify, and it's cool. Like whatever we're talking about, that's when you can leave your comment. So it's synced to the time code.
You could also propose any sort of fun bet for the week's games. Maybe we'll accept.
Troy saying, "I want to be the dean." Of Degen University. Now that's what we're talking about.
What are your credentials, sir?
Yeah, send them in. Degen.University.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Have you ever lost 6 figures at a horse track?
Now you're definitely going up there. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Fuck the Cowboys.
Kramer. Let it ride.